Good morning. We call the Central Oklahoma Transportation and Parking Authority December meeting to order. Items from the chairman. There is one item that we're going to move to program reports. And so the partnership between Embark and MHAOK presentation will be covered there. So are there any citizens to be heard? None have registered, so we'll move on to item number 4, which is approval of the minutes of the November 3rd COPTA board meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. Motion passes. Okay, moving on to the consent docket. Is there any items that any of the trustees would like to consider individually? If not, is there a motion to approve the 4 items on the consent docket? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. Motion passes. Items for individual consideration. Item A is Amendment 6 and change order number 6 on the Northwest Bus Rapid Transit Center downtown to at North Broadway Avenue and West Main Street, providing service north on Classen Boulevard to Northwest Expressway and Meridian Avenue at a cost of $265,026.99. Jason?
Yes, sir. So as mentioned, this is Amendment 6 and change order number 6 for our Rapid BRT project. The memo and then the accompanying document from HNTB will go into a lot of detail that describes what is being amended and of course what is being added through the change order. I think what's important to point out is, at least for the amendment standpoint, the 51,000, those are changes in quantities. So again, looking in your packet, you'll have several pages of different quantity adjustments, but there's a lot of numbers in there. It adds up to about $51,000. The majority of the increase comes from change order number 6. And again, most of that change order is attributable to extra work that we needed to do to get the TSP functioning, the traffic signal priority. So we basically brought in a consultant, a specialist in that field, worked with a contractor to help us program the TSP so that the traffic signal priority, so that it would work as designed. As we're learning, it's a very complicated system. There's a lot of communication, not only between the signals and the equipment that's on the buses, but then also the clever device system that we're installing on all the BRT buses. So that's the majority of that. You'll also see some changes or some increases in the change order for some striping related to our bus lanes. With that takes our total contract amount for the BRT to just over $17 million. That is a $3.9 million increase from the original contract amount. Does sound like a lot, but I would just remind the trust that change order number 4 and amendment number 4 in particular, we kind of knew that was coming when we awarded the contract. Just again, we had some stops or some platforms that were still in design, and we knew we would have to come back and award that at a later date. So that was, of that $3.9 million, again, almost $1.5 million of that is due to that one change order and amendment. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, I know Jason yesterday said that he rode a test ride and the TSP is working very good. I think he only had one red light in the run, either uptown or downtown. I don't know which direction it was, yeah. But the signals are working to help us run the rapidly. Are there any other questions or comments?
I do want to note, though, that the signal at Northwest Expressway and Penn is still being tweaked to have the TSP work a little bit differently, more like the, so that inbound signal's being tweaked to work more like the outbound signal. And so if people are listening and they're thinking, well, all of them aren't working, we know there are still some things to be done
Yeah.
from the public works side.
That's good. Okay, is there any other comments or questions? If not, is there a motion to approve item A? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. I think the motion passes, but we haven't seen it on our screen yet. Yes, motion passes. So moving on to item B is the approval of the final plans and specifications for the First American Museum Riverboat Landing and authorize the administrator to advertise for bids. And Corey's going to make that presentation.
Good morning.
Hi.
First American Museum Landing, probably the most significant one for the river operations. Value estimated construction cost is $4.3 million. No major changes to the previous report that was provided to you during our September meeting. We do have two add alternates in there. An add alternate for turf, as a party is thinking about having turf. And then another, that's at $460,000. Again, that's not included in our estimated construction cost. And then another about $10,000 for additional furniture if that's desired. Our plan of attack is, should this get approved today, we'll advertise next week. We'll receive bids middle of January and bring the item back to the board with a recommendation in March to have construction completed in calendar year 24.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments? Is the grass the entire area that I'm seeing on that screen? That's green?
West of the tiered layer area would be the turf area.
And not not right in front of the bandstand or on the,
I'll need to double check. Is all of the grass here turf? Just around the amphitheater.
okay. Okay. Any other questions or comments?
Hi.
Hi.
Shade and trees, yes, you already knew. Look at that smile. Y'all, I'm becoming predictable. But I'm just reminding everyone what our vice chair said, or called to our attention. So when would be the right time to mention the need? I just think of shade, and I don't know about y'all. I'm just saying July this year and August barely let me leave my apartment. It was just so punishing the way that sun came down, and I just see this investment. I want it to be successful. I want people, when they depart from that river boat right there, that they, getting to enjoy the furniture and the outdoor amenities. So I was just thinking about trees, but I was also thinking about if it's not trees, like you see that giant, departure moment right here, or arrival moment, some sort of shade structure or just something. I don't know what you were envisioning, Vice Chair, but.
Oh, no. Could that be considered part of the furniture? Like if we're talking about that expenditure, my concern originally was the AstroTurf aspect of it, and just the heat retention, which I think that's going to be a different conversation at a different time. But yeah, when do we talk about the trees, I guess?
That the AstroTurf concern has been expressed quite candidly.
And the former question though, like, I just can't
A canopy?
I just can't express enough, as I have previously, like how hot it is in Oklahoma in the summer and how it's going to continue getting hot. Like it's going to keep getting hotter. And I know this is only a conversation the city of OKC as a government has started undertaking in very recent years. And I will remind everyone I read an Oklahoman article about sprawl that Steve Lackmeyer wrote, interviewed Aubrey McDermott, Mayor Cornett, it was like 2016, 17. And we had a former planning director in the 70s who literally said, people don't want trees. So if that was the mentality here, I understand that like I'm asking us to go a different direction.
James, I'll pipe in too. There's a gate at the top of the stairs, and I suppose that's to queue people up to enter to ride the boat. And I don't know whether a canopy could be put along that railing that goes to the east of that gate, so that those people that are standing in line aren't sweltering in the heat. Is just an idea of something that might not be as intrusive as large trees would be, but would provide some shade.
I like it.
I don't know whether that
Great.
could be built into it.
Thank you for the feedback.
Okay. Are there any other comments or questions? If not, is there a motion? I guess we'll go back to computer. It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. Motion passes. Moving on to item C is an interlocal agreement with the city, with the Oklahoma Department of Human Services for a continuation of the Climb Ride program to include the immediate expansion of service up to an additional 50 families and a second mobility program coordinator from April 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2024. Estimated cost of $899,104 with an estimated revenue of $899,104. Jason.
Yes, sir. So appreciate the opportunity to talk a little bit about the Climb Ride program and the expansion, and the fact we're able to bring a program to the trust that will expand our services and is, as you mentioned, Mr. Chairman, funded by DHS. So we certainly are appreciative of their partnership. The short of this is as you know, that we've been working, our mobility management staff in particular has been working on developing the Climb Ride program, which really provides that transportation solution for families that are in the foster care system. And I know that we've heard previous reports, and it's clear that we believe we've been successful in implementing that program using really a grant provided by the Arnall Family Foundation. And so the intent of that grant, of course, was, at least part of the intent was to have a proof of concept. Is this going to work? Does this affect outcomes? And obviously we've been able to demonstrate that it has. And so as a result of that, DHS has recognized the value in that niche that Embark has filled in providing those transportation solutions. As a result, the DHS will be actually funding the program moving forward, and that's outlined in the memo, the first year, second year, and third year estimated costs. But not only are they going to fund the program, they're funding it at a level that will allow us to expand the program, essentially double the capacity that we're able to provide now, and that's where that extra mobility management coordinator comes in. We manage at any given time about 50 families right now. So with the additional funding and additional staffing, we'll be able to increase that by another 50, having about 100 in the program at any given time. So really wanted to just recognize staff, DHS, and then of course the Arnall Foundation for helping us get this started. Happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, this is an exciting expansion of a program that was started with a public-private partnership, and love to see it expanding further to meet the need. Are there any other comments or questions? If not, is there a motion to approve item C? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. Motion passes. Item D is a joint resolution with the Association of Central Oklahoma Governments Metropolitan Planning Organization and the Oklahoma Department of Transportation designating the Central Oklahoma Transportation and Parking Authority as a Section 5310 program recipient for the Oklahoma City urbanized area.
So again, a pretty exciting agenda item to bring to the trust. Again, another example, I think, of a partnership between ACOG, the COTPA Trust, and ODOT. With approval of this item today, COTPA will become the official recipient of 5310 funds. These are funds that are provided to the urbanized area from the FTA, and they're really geared towards assisting seniors and individuals with disabilities, solving those transportation needs. The thing that is transformational, in I think our staff's opinion anyway, in entering into this agreement is that in the past those funds have went to the state and in fact another agency outside of even the Department of Transportation. And now by working with ODOT, for example, having those funds come directly to us, the basically largest provider of transportation in the metro area, we look to be able to leverage those funds to really increase the amount of service that we're able to provide as an urbanized area to, again, seniors and individuals with disabilities. As you know, that's what we do every day, and I think it's great that ODOT is essentially recognizing that and allowing us to have a little bit more opportunities to direct those funds to where we can really provide meaningful service. So the way the program will move forward is, those funds will come to COTPA for disbursement, if you will. We would expect to be able to leverage a lot of those funds for our own in-house services, but also through essentially a competitive program, other nonprofits and entities will also be able to apply for those funds. And so we're really looking at kind of a multi-pronged approach in not only being able to potentially expand our services, but also expand services of other nonprofits and transit providers within the area. So with that, we would look forward to beginning to manage those grant funds.
Okay, are there any questions or comments about this? So is there a motion to adopt the resolution? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. Motion passes. Item E is professional services agreement with Remerge of Oklahoma County for providing the in-house transportation services and on-demand transportation services to clients of Remerge from December 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024 at an estimated annual revenue of $136,500 and an estimated annual cost of $135,000. Jason?
Yes, sir. So another partnership opportunity for the trust, and again, one that is funded. So this is the meeting where we're bringing programs to expand our services that are funded. So very, very exciting for us. But really, this arrangement, this agreement, really builds off some of the work that our mobility management staff has done with Palomar. As you know, that was another proof of concept, really type service that we launched, trying to solve transportation issues for clients of Palomar. And so we're really taking a very similar model and applying that to the clientele of Remerge. And so with Remerge agreeing to basically fund the cost of the transportation, we will in essence just manage that transportation. We're looking to add an additional position with that funding and provide that transportation directly. So happy to answer any questions about the program.
Any questions or comments? If not, is there a motion to approve the agreement? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. Motion approved. Okay, moving on to ratification of claims and payroll. This is for the period of November 1st through November 28th. Is there a motion to ratify the claims and payroll? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically.
It says green and yay. But I can make it spicier if you like.
Motion passes. Okay, well, moving on to our financial reports. This is the COPTA Schedule of Revenue and Expenses Budget to Actual for the month ending October 31st. Suzanne?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hope y'all are doing well today. So I will be keeping it fairly brief today. We've got several program report presentations, and also not much has changed on some of our operating units. So I'm going to focus on transportation and parking today. So page 2 of your report is our transportation operations for the 4 months into the fiscal year. We had total revenues of $12,689,000 and total expenditures of $13,363,000. So our expenditures did exceed our revenues by $673,000. Just kind of talking through that, I would like to direct you to federal grants line. We talk about this one frequently, but it's certainly an important revenue source for us. So you'll see it's negative $155,000. Last month I talked about the need to double up that in October we would be seeing a doubling of our draw reimbursement just because of timing. This is really another timing issue. So the federal grant, that row there, the revenues are comprised of basically 3 different types of grants. So one of them is for our preventative maintenance, one of them is for paratransit, and then the third is for what's called UPWP, another acronym in the transit world, but it's Unified Planning Work Program. And so that's basically where staff, their time that working on planning activities is reimbursable. So we do quarterly get some funding for reimbursing staff time. And so that negative variance of $155,000 is a timing issue. We typically would receive that revenue in October, as it's the end of the first quarter of the fiscal year. We have received the revenue, but it's in November, so it'll be on next month's report, and that was $166,000. So you can see that would basically eliminate that variance. I would also just want to explain on the operating income. So the last few months, if you factor in the timing of receiving some of those draws, it would basically explain that negative operating income. But this month, even with the UPWP, we would still show that basically $500,000 negative variance. And so what we've been doing with our federal reimbursements is we've really just been pacing ourselves and drawing as needed as our expenditures require. So we've been keeping up with our draws for preventative maintenance, not taking the full amount. We have plenty of eligible expenses, but we're pacing ourselves. We've basically taken that full pot of money that is from that apportionment, and we've basically just said this is the amount we're taking every month, just pacing ourselves so that if we do need to ramp up our draw, if our expenditures are ramping up, then we have the opportunity to do that. And that's exactly what's happening. So this month, we will be taking some extra reimbursement on our preventative maintenance expenditures so that we can get our revenues caught up. And then I'd also point out, you'll see the line, a couple lines below, the state government subsidy. That's one we get every year. And we just signed the agreement with the state yesterday, and so we can anticipate that revenue will come in at some point. They do stipulate in the agreement the times that they'll be sending us checks, but we have not really seen those necessarily tie out on timing. So we know we'll get it, it's just a timing, so. And then we'll just turn over to parking on page 4. Our total revenues are $2.6 million, total expenditures 1.4 million, so operating income of $1.15 million for the month of October. Under events and transient parking, the second line under revenues, I thought I'd point out to the trustees that the actual year-to-date, you'll see, is $1.5 million. And if we look over at last year, prior year, actual year-to-date, $797,000, it might give the picture of some significant growth with our event parking. But I do want to just clarify that for you all, that it's not necessarily tied to growth as much as it is timing with receiving payment from the Thunder. And so last year we received it in in November. This year we've received it this month. So that's really what the big variance is there in the revenues from last year. The only other thing I'd point out to you is under supplies. If you look at it from a percentage standpoint, we're quite below budget at only 16% of what we anticipated. That's really just largely due to not having as many of the repairs that we had this time last year with parking with the SCIDATA. So those are my comments on our financial report for this month, but if there's any questions on these operating units or the others, I'm happy to answer those.
Are there any questions or comments about our financial reports? Okay.
All right, thank you.
So is there a motion to receive our financial reports? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. Motion passes. Moving on to our program reports, we have a presentation on our bus rapid transit update by Jesse. You got some good publicity in the paper this morning, front page, big picture.
Absolutely. Before I get started, I'd be remiss if I didn't take an opportunity to recognize Stephanie Davis in the audience here with us. Jason mentioned the Climb Ride program earlier. She's responsible for starting that up and growing that, and now the expansion of that. So excited to see that come to the board. Appreciate you guys. So yeah, some good publicity in the news this morning. Got a big project that's about to launch. Let's talk a little bit about it. So first, where are we at with construction? Lots and lots of green on this screen, so that's very exciting, right? So there's a few areas there that are in yellow or in progress, right? So those are essentially the lights at our stations. So we've been working with our contractor, Rudy Construction, and also OG&E to get those lights set. There's a few stations that may be missing one light. We anticipate having those installed today. The other in-progress stations or platforms are lights that are installed, but the connections haven't quite been made, and so the lights aren't quite on just yet. Again, those all anticipate to be done either today or tomorrow. So I wanted to kind of take us on a journey here. So basically what it took to bring the BRT to Oklahoma City, right? So it all started June 18th of 2018. So over 5 years ago, we started the process when Chip Nolan and the planning department worked together to develop the build grant, or the Better Utilizing Investments to Leverage Development build grant, now called the RAISE grant, and get that submitted to the FTA. And then on December 14th, it was a very big day for us. Not only was it the grand opening of the OKC streetcar, Jason also got word that we were awarded that build grant. So a $14 million grant was awarded to us to build, design, and construct the Northwest BRT. Jason also had a very busy day. He also sold a parking garage that day. So he was hopping all over town, taking care of business. But we launched a streetcar, and we also got awarded that build grant. So the next, we started the design. So August 2nd, 2019, the board adopted a contract with HNTB to be our designer for the project. And Heidi Eilers was our lead engineer for that project, and she led us through the entire design process. And then February 5th, the board received the 30% preliminary design from HNTB, and it really established what our route was going to be, right? So taking us from all the way downtown Oklahoma City all the way to Northwest Expressway and Meridian. And then August 17th was our very first BRT work group, and Kristen Torkelson kicked that off for us. And that really kind of honed in a single point of contact for when it came to the BRT. And similar to like the OKC streetcar, she was that single point of contact during construction. and that's transitioned over to Cody as we getting closer to launch. But early on in the project, that was Kristen Torkelson. She was involved in communicating the progress of the project to all of our stakeholders and our BRT work group. And then next was September 3rd, when we received our 60% design documents. And then, as always, we're always coordinating with all the different departments within Oklahoma City. So the Public Works Planning, Oklahoma City Water and Utilities Trust, all the different stakeholders, the Traffic Department. As we bring this project online, we want to make sure that we're coordinating with all the different groups. And then we move into some of the first article inspections. So on February 7th, Jason, Dennis, and I, we traveled to Anniston, Alabama to take a look at our very first bus that was being built. Here we are, Jason's telling New Flyer how to build the motor and put it all together. And they listened to him, so appreciate that. And our next item, March 29th, we received our final design and engineering drawings, and we put those out to bid. And then on May 20th, the board approved our contract with Rudy, a construction company, for the contract of the $13.2 million construction project. And with that came their subcontractors, TLS, who does all of our traffic lighting installation. So big group there with Rudy doing our construction project. We estimate that over 100 hands took place in this construction project, just in the construction side of it. And then on May 26th, we what the mayor called the best brand reveal he's ever seen. So take that, appreciate that. But we revealed our Rapid Northwest bus at the convention center, and I thought it was wonderful. It was beautiful, beautiful turnout, beautiful bus to reveal, very exciting time. And as always, you can see here in the group, the mayor and our maintenance staff. Maintenance staff was on hand to not only make sure the bus was perfect and beautiful and presentable, but also they were there to pull back the cover that was over the bus to really reveal that. And then we moved to June 28th, a big day, all right, the groundbreaking. So this is not when we revealed the Rapid Northwest bus, but this is actually when we did the groundbreaking. I appreciate everyone's turnout for that. December 28th, we hired Carly Barnaby to be our chief of bus operations. So we're bringing on a brand new operation. We wanted to make sure that we had the talent to do that, and we were able to bring Mr. Barnaby on to be a part of our group, our team, and our family. February 20th, 2023, we began the hiring of our 21 BRT operators. In this photo here, you've got Byron doing the training, but that's really just one component of that, bringing new folks online, right? So that involves our HR department with Mike Shaw and his team, and Laura, bringing the folks first into our family and getting them to be part of Embark. Laura brings them in, does the onboarding, and then Byron goes through the whole process of training them to become excellent bus operators. And then February 22nd through the 24th, we traveled to Kansas City to do a first article inspection of our pylon, and visited DI there in Kansas City. And they're also the ones that developed and built our pylons for the Oklahoma City streetcar, but also they built it for our BRT. May 15th, we began our operations familiarization. Again, this was where we took all of our bus operators through the process of becoming familiar with what a BRT is, right? And train them on coming up to that BRT platform there on the grid. And then we've started the process of bringing the specified BRT operators online. July 1st, we began hiring our additional staff to maintain our world-class BRT platforms. Here's a photo of some of those individuals out cleaning the platforms, prepping for this weekend and launching of the new service. Not only that, Dennis and his crews, they're also bringing on additional staff to support the BRT coming online, but also with the OKC Moves expansion, we're going 24/7 with our maintenance staff. So that includes additional mechanics, additional part staff, body shop crews, and our facilities and maintenance crews, and also our service crews, the folks that wash and fuel our buses every night. So major expansion within the maintenance department also. And then July 7th, Rudy Construction completed the first fully outfitted platform. So this is our shelter, the bike racks, the pylons, the lighting, all the amenities that go along with that. And then I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that also Corey plays a hand in bringing these platforms to Oklahoma City, right? So Corey is involved in purchasing and helping install those ticket vending machines that you'll see at all the platforms, and the integration of those ticket vending machines. September 18th, we received our final rapid bus. Received that on the grid there, and we were able to do some publicity behind that also. And then October 3rd and 4th, that's when we really start getting into the operations and behind-the-scenes stuff. You've heard me talk many times about it, but that's when we started performing our punch list and our certifiable elements inspections. And Eugene Fritz and the safety team were involved in doing all of that. Eugene and Molly and Sharon out doing all those inspections. And then finally, October 29th, we began our pre-revenue service, getting ready for the launch. So I want to just take a moment to, as we were going through all these slides, kind of a common theme, really. It's really the people, right? So in this photo, these are all of our BRT operators. It takes a huge amount of talent and folks to bring a project like this online. Some of the folks that we didn't mention in these slides but play a huge hand in this is like our finance team, right? Developing the budgets and bringing that online. Our marketing team, where you'll hear a little bit about what our marketing team's been doing from Cody. Our IT department, right? Mr. Scroggins, he's bringing on this brand new system as we're standing up the BRT and OKC Moves. Our IT team is bringing on a brand new CAD AVL system, which is a huge undertaking, and we're bringing that online. And really just a whole group of folks and family that it took to bring this BRT to Oklahoma City. Really, really proud of the people that we work with, and appreciate the board's support to bring this online. So a couple more things. So what's next, right? So December 3rd, this is really our launch of OKC Moves and BRT. So Sunday morning, we launch a brand new service. We're making some changes of combining routes 3 and 5, extending the Route 8 all the way out to Northwest Expressway and Council, streamlining the Route 24, that's our connector between OKC and Norman, and of course, the Rapid Northwest launch. And then December 3rd through the 16th, fare free for our services there, and then December 3rd through December 31st, fare free for Rapid Northwest and Paratransit Zone 1A. And then finally, I want to make sure that everyone was aware of the ribbon cutting, Monday, December 4th at 10 a.m. at the Homeland parking lot there on North Classen and Northwest 18th. Parking will be available. It's that blue area up there in the top right corner. So looking forward to seeing everyone there. So finally, with that, what can our customers expect? So our marketing team put together this short little video that I'd like to show to you guys.
A faster, reliable way to travel. It looks something like this. New Rapid Transit Northwest OKC. Go farther, faster. New experiences, accessibility, and free Wi-Fi. Learn more and find your stop at rapidbrt.com.
Short and sweet. Yep. All right, so with that, take any questions, comments, concerns?
It's an exciting time,
very exciting.
exciting weekend.
Agreed. Yep.
Are there any other comments or questions?
Cody, thank you for bringing this BRT, the fruit of everyone's labor. He brought this to Coronado Heights neighborhood for their neighborhood association meeting Tuesday evening. I think it was like 6:30 to ultimately like 8:30 we were there. And there was a woman with a mobility device, like with a walker, who at first was uncertain that she'd be able to board. And then she got to watch this platform lower down to meet her level and go onto this bus and then be greeted by her neighborhood association president. It was just a really great moment of people who, the president of the neighborhood at the start of, this BRT moment, he made this comment, as if the only people who would need public transit were, low-income residents. And watching her get on there, right, and you could see it across the room, people who mostly have not used public transportation before. If you live in Coronado Heights, you're going to own a car, not because of your income, but just because literally, how are you going? It's a car-built neighborhood, right? So there was a new service that they were seeing in a lot of ways, and then they were realizing that a lot of the attendees there who are seniors that this was going to ultimately benefit them. And so it was just really nice to see that moment. So I just really want to take time to thank Cody and just double down on this staff gratitude. There are probably people we'll never meet who have just put so much into this project. People in this room, but just other people as well. And I just really want to say thanks to them. Isaiah was the operator who brought the BRT to Coronado, and he was just so excited to show. He was like, "Do you want to sit in this seat?" And he showed me where the wipers and where the crank for the door. I mean, just thrilled to demonstrate how it worked. And then as I was sitting here, I don't know why, I just had, it's because I looked up the Oklahoman. I just had this weird moment where I was like, when was the Montgomery bus boycott? And I just typed it into my phone. Do you all know when? This weekend is the anniversary. And Montgomery, Alabama is right now this weekend as we are launching our service. They have 4 days celebrating Rosa Parks refusing to give up her seat to a white person because the law told her and all the black people of Alabama who used that service that they were literally by God less than them. And for 1 year, they boycotted that bus and walked to work and carried their groceries on their head to work and back home in their laundry in a nonviolent protest to say that they were human beings deserving of dignity. It took a year of that sort of protest and a young preacher from neighboring Alabama joining them, Martin Luther King Jr., but they were successful and they integrated that service. And so the civil rights movement begins with public transportation, begins with it. That's why you hear, as I was reading that, it clicked in my head. That's why, probably to the annoyance of some folks sometimes, I get so passionate about public transportation. Its roots are in the literal healing of this country. I don't know what else to say. And I don't know, I'm just so proud. So proud of you all. And I think the first two people I really, really want to say thank you. Laura Johnson, you took me by the hand when I joined this board after I lost an election, and you said, I'm going to teach you how city government works. And I'll forever be thankful of that. And Jason, just thank you for teaching me how COPPA and Embark work. And I just can't wait to see everybody out there on Monday. So, thanks.
Thank you, James. Gosh, anybody else have anything to add to that? Other than to say, we've added service in bus service here in Oklahoma City and taken it away and reinstituted it for 50 or 70 years or so. But this is something revolutionary. It is a different animal, and it takes a lot of effort to put it together and a complete staff effort to bring it about, and it's pretty fantastic. So we're excited about it.
Thank you for allowing us to do it.
Okay,
Appreciate it.
thank you.
Thank you.
Item B is the presentation of the Marketing and Community Engagement Report. Cody?
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, trustees, and thank you, Councilman, trustee, for your kind words and for inviting us out to visit with the neighborhood. Those are events that I love to do because, as he mentioned, we get to help show some folks, maybe for the first time, what public transit is, and they may have some previous notions that are easily dispelled, and anytime you can give someone a hands-on type of experience to see something themselves and realize it in the flesh, I think is a really great and powerful moment, because so much of what people sometimes know or think they know may not actually be grounded in their actual experience with something. And opportunities like that are are rare, so we're happy that when we're able to do it. Thanks for allowing me to share this report, and I really want to thank our marketing team, and I'll thank them all by name as we go through the presentation for their contributions. Much work has been done, and there's much more still to come. And as Jesse took you through the years and the months and the weeks, and I think I'll take you maybe through what's left in terms of hours, because it kind of just feels like a countdown of hours and minutes now. I'll go ahead and start with our media relations. Some overview of the media and public relations activities this fall. 6 media interviews in September, 3 media interviews in October, 4 interviews in November, and then I know we've got a couple more in the queue. Reporters calling us even this morning trying to get stories in on Rapid before we get to launch on Sunday. We've also have great partners in our industry, businesses, neighborhood groups that share this content on their social media, and in a way are an extension of traditional media and who they reach. And so groups like the Greater Oklahoma City Chamber, Northwest Chamber, Downtown OKC Partnership, Alliance for Economic Development have really helped us boost Rapid, as well as our service changes, other services, and pushing things out to their members and being really, really great partners. Some things that are still yet to come. Obviously, lots and lots of media opportunities this weekend and through next week with service launch. Working with Oak, their media and public relations crew on some cross-promotion type opportunities, and obviously those will continue through the year and into next year as Oak prepares to open in 2020, I believe it's 2025, or it's late 2024. And then we can also expect to see some op-eds, namely from the Northwest Oklahoma City Chamber. And then, of course, all of our various ribbon cutting activities and the lead up to that, and then hopefully a good media turnout, good weather, which I think that we have on the radar for our ribbon cutting celebration on Monday. A look at some of the creative work. This is mostly for service lines, not Rapid Northwest. Marketing is always busy creating lots and lots of content for our internal and our external customers. Just a look at some of the amazing work, both in terms of quantity and quality, that's been produced in-house by Taishika Holly and Lloyd Rawson, in terms of digital and print and video type content. So we've got training and employee recognition materials, recruitment materials, other various internal communications, and then external communications like advertisements. You can see here some of the ads that have been done, and then all brand new service materials for Norman and Oklahoma City bus service. And so that's brand new route maps, new schedules, bay cards. These are printed materials as well as digital materials. And so many things that have had to be received major updates, in some cases created brand new from scratch, and then very extensively reviewed and vetted before printing those out, since those are customer-facing materials that folks rely on. And all of our routes, of course, being affected with the Norman service changes that launched in October, and with the OKC Move service changes and Rapid Northwest launching next week. I'll look at a few of the creative items created in-house for Rapid Northwest. Some updates to our Rapid Northwest system map. This is a significant update showing the Northwest line compared to the previous map that we had. This goes into much more detail, showing the shared stops where you can transfer between Rapid and other fixed route buses, as well as streetcar downtown, and highlighting, giving more attention to the business districts that are served and some of the major destinations that are served along the Northwest line. And then to the right, the larger graphic, that's our platform maps. You'll see those at each of the 32 platform stops, again showing the Northwest line, and also the service hours, arrival times, fare info, and of course how to pay fare and get more information using our app. And then the line map at the top, you'll see those on the bus, and other locations showing all the stops in order. Again, very, very detailed and great looking work created with lots of review and all with our customers in mind. Quite a bit of work done on the internal communications front as well. You can see here some of the items that have been created in preparation for launch to help educate our employees and other city employees, as we're going to rely on them for a lot of one-on-one, in-person type of outreach with our ambassadors, which we'll talk about a little bit more in a minute. And then, of course, all of this is going on with the regular rhythm of the roadmap and our employee recognition programs that marketing helps support by making content and making things that we can recognize our legends, our storytellers, our other employees who are receiving recognitions. On the community engagement front, we've had 20 plus events, conferences, tours, community meetings, and pop-up outreach activities in the past few months since we last reported to you. Here are a few that were not related to Rapid Northwest. We were happy to welcome Councilman Brad Carter and his family on a tour of all of Embark's service lines earlier in the fall. And so that's him and his family at our streetcar facility. We also did quite a bit of work in September and October with Norman, the city of Norman, to help them promote the launch of the Go Norman service changes, which affected all of the bus routes in Norman that are operated by Embark. So we were happy to assist them in direct outreach to their customers and getting that launch done, and the ribbon cut on their brand new transit center in downtown Norman that also opened when those service changes launched. And then also on the right, 2 photos here just showing an annual event that we're happy to help participate in with one of our major advertisers, McIntyre Law. They have a couple of buses that have the full wrap advertising their business, and they do an annual turkey giveaway at a large church on the south side, and that is an event that's kind of hard to capture, maybe without a helicopter photo, because there are literally hundreds of people lined up, rain or shine, cold or warm, around the block waiting for turkeys and groceries. And so the bus actually got to act as a warming station for folks to wait with their families, and it's just a great promotional tool as well for one of our great advertising partners and for Embark. We've had 9 events this fall focused on the promotion of Rapid. You can see several of them here. Urban Land Institute, Oklahoma chapter, a great group of businessmen and women, and folks who are involved in development, engineering, construction, community economic development, to come out and take a tour of a platform and learn more about Rapid Northwest, Northwest Oklahoma City Rotary Club, Mesta Festa, which is Mesta Park neighborhood, just right along the Rapid line on Classen. Neighbors Night Out, which was an event that Councilman Cooper invited us to, where we were actually able to take a bus out to 5 different neighborhoods in one night, all along the Rapid line, everywhere from Classen and 23rd area all the way out to Coronado Heights, out at Portland and Expressway, to bring them a bus at a regularly scheduled event where their neighborhood associations get together and help promote that, our new service. Uptown Outside, the Uptown 23rd District, the Plaza District Festival, and then a presentation recently to an ACOG technical committee with a dozen or so representatives from municipalities all around the metro area, getting to hear about what Oklahoma City and Embark are doing with Rapid. We've also had 6 speaking engagements in the last few months. We've covered some of them here. Some of the others we didn't mention: Bricktown, Rotary Club, and the Asian District Board just earlier this week. Some of the upcoming engagement opportunities we have with hospitals, neighborhoods, business districts, nonprofits, and other organizations. Some of those we'll touch on the next slide. Our ongoing stakeholder engagement, you can see here, these are the different types of organizations along the Northwest line that we've been reaching out to, in many cases meeting with one-on-one, knocking their door, trying to get info into the hands of receptionists, managers, business owners who are along the line, and then coordinating with some larger organizations and multi-site type organizations such as Metropolitan Library Systems, YMCA, Oklahoma City Housing Authority. we identified about 200 stakeholders along the line that we wanted to make contact with this year. 120 plus have been contacted directly, and 80 or so are still in progress in various places in process. So, some of these will involve, again, just promoting at their business, and in some cases, more in-depth outreach. We talked to a lot of businesses downtown and midtown, specifically about parking and parking for their delivery vans and trucks in a way that won't block the bus. And obviously, the bus has a couple of tight turns downtown and some new areas of striping where, much like the streetcar, there's the message to business owners to make sure that when they have deliveries, their trucks are parking inside the white lines so our buses can make the turn. And obviously, with buses coming every 12 minutes, much more frequent just a greater number of buses coming through some of those spots downtown more frequently. We're also in the process of planning some employee-focused outreach activities, like some lunch and learns and some display sessions, informational sessions with some of these major employers along the line, like SSM Health St. Anthony Hospital, Integris Baptist Hospital, Simon Properties, which owns Penn Square Mall, and the Strata Tower, which hosts several state agencies downtown. A lot of this through the rest of the year will include following up with many leads that were generated through initial rounds of outreach, being able to bring these new updated maps to them. We mass print those in a pad map type format like we have with the streetcar, which has been really successful downtown with hotels and businesses. Many businesses, apartment complexes that we've talked to expressed great interest in having those materials on hand to give to their guests at the front, at the front desk of a restaurant, or for an apartment complex for them to share with their new tenants when they move in, and then their newsletters. So I'm, definitely, want to just reiterate that the sentiment that I've encountered when talking with business owners, apartment complexes, restaurateurs has been overwhelmingly positive. Folks know what Rapid is. They've been aware of the service testing. They're excited for launch. They are happy to see this type of service in their neighborhood and near their place of business and see it as a benefit to their customers, to their staff, to their residents. So some of the safety messaging, I know you've seen our characters before with the launch of the streetcar, and we've given you some previews of what those ads look like with our characters coming back, and they've aged a little bit, but they're helping us deliver some crucial safety messaging because we do have some aspects of Rapid that are going to be new for motorists, going to be new for pedestrians and cyclists, and these are clickable digital ads, social reels, videos that help get us to our target audience, and you may have seen them if you're on social media. Those safety messages that we've rolled out so far include the service testing, how to use our new bus lanes, how to navigate the new traffic signals that are part of the TSP system for Rapid Northwest. Some of the safety messaging that you'll see coming very soon include cyclists, pedestrians, motorists, and how they can, how some of their activities may change when they're dealing with Rapid at some of the stops and at some of the intersections, and when Rapid is moving down the street. So our new website, the updated Embark website, launched in early November. This has been a huge effort of at least 2 years in the process, and the IT team, the marketing team, many others working on the technology aspects, the content creation. We're happy to have that website finally out to the public. You can see here on the right, this is just a screenshot of the homepage of Rapid. On the left is the splash page that you see when you first visit that website to help remind users of the launch of service and our fare-free period in December. And so that's the rapidbrt.com website that's on the back of all the buses and on our materials. And so this is what users will see when they visit that new website. This website is redesigned to bring all of our service lines under one umbrella. So instead of multiple websites for streetcar and Spokies, when you go to embarkok.com or you go to the web links to any of the others, it brings you to this one website where you can view all of our services easily and have some integrated travel tools, trip planning travel tools that are updated and can cross different modes of transit to help you make your trip. Some of the advertising elements for Rapid, produced by our contractor Crush, and some of the creative aspects you can see here are door hangers, some of the print ads. This is an example of an ad in the Curbside Chronicle, and our digital billboards. We've got billboards at 4 locations along the I-235 Broadway Extension Corridor and on Northwest Expressway, showing off this message here, previewing our bus and the launch of service on December 3rd. I know I've seen it many, many times, and especially at night, the colors are very striking. And what better way to advertise public transit than to commuters sitting in traffic on a busy freeway at rush hour? And so talking about the last few hours before we get to launch week, here's a preview of all the launch week activities, and I know Jesse's touched on some of these, so I don't have to go into too much detail here. I will talk about ambassadors a little bit more in the next slide. You'll see that we have ambassadors every day next week from Sunday through Saturday. These are volunteers, or in some cases, who will be supplementing Embark staff and city employees in being in-person contacts at the platforms, on the buses, at the transit center to help our customers navigate a new service with Rapid and the service changes with OKC Moves. And so these are folks who will have a safety vest, they'll have very prominent things on them that show that they are there to help, and they'll have information and resources available to them to help navigate folks whose bus routes may have changed. Their bus stop may be in a new location now that we have a platform instead of a bus stop on Classen, for example. And of course, explaining how Rapid works since it is a brand new service. They will also be critical for our different events and helping us just manage traffic. For instance, our first event that we have on Sunday at the Transit Center, this will be a celebration for existing customers of launching a new service, of improving our bus services through OKC Moves, and also welcoming them to the Transit Center, which recently reopened to the public after several months of renovation work. And so here are just a few of the things that you can expect to see free activities on Sunday at the Transit Center. We're very happy to have our scaled down version of our annual health fair with some free vaccinations provided by the City County Health Department, like flu and monkeypox and COVID boosters, as well as some other activities and live entertainment, just to give a nice festive holiday atmosphere to customers as we celebrate some big milestones, but also as they're acclimating to some pretty big changes. And we have, our volunteer ambassadors. They've gone through some training sessions, and we've got at least 30 that are signed up so far. And again, they'll be supplementing a lot of our staff out there, bring a friendly face to greet folks to Rapid for the first time and help them navigate. Our grand opening celebration, Jesse's mentioned, Monday, December 4th. And this invitation, I should mention, went out to more than 2,300 contacts, and I know many, many more have been made aware of it through the media and shares as well. So we hope to see a great crowd and a great community celebration of a new service and a monumental achievement for Oklahoma City. And then our event on Saturday, December 9th, we're calling this the Celebration Station. It's not at Celebration Station, so please don't go there. Go to the Meridian Park and Ride at Northwest Expressway in Meridian. We will have some free entertainment, some crafts, some refreshments, all set up to welcome customers there, to welcome the community and the neighborhoods. There's ample parking, and we also very much encourage folks to ride Rapid out there and enjoy this celebration. Again, just to celebrate a big milestone of completion of construction, the launch of a brand new service, and service in parts of town that have not had public transit like this before. That's the conclusion of my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Cody, what time is the celebration station going to operate?
I'm sorry, thank you. The celebration station is noon to 4 p.m. on Saturday, December 9th.
Noon to 4. Okay. Are there other questions?
Not a question, but just great job. Part of my day job involves marketing, operations, and strategy, and this is your entire team have been putting in so much work and so much effort. The branding looks fantastic. Everything is just world-class. You're making everybody here look great. The city looks great, so good job.
Thank you, thank you. And I want to recognize our team by name, Megan Henderson, our marketing strategist. She's done so much work actually from home. She recently welcomed a new addition to her family, baby Junie, just a couple of months ago. So she has helped push so much of this, and working with our consultants and contractors on the creative work, on the ad buys, doing so much of that while being a new mother. Just excellent work, very in awe of her dedication to all of this. And then of course Lloyd Rawson and Taishika Holly, who do amazing artistic work, that do so many videos, create so much print and digital content that, like you've said, is world-class. It looks great. It's all done with our customers in mind, and the sheer quantity of what all had to be done to support our bus service changes, the service changes in Norman, as well as the launch of Rapid. Very, very proud of the team for the work that they accomplished with very, very tight deadlines. Thank you so much.
Mr. Chairman, I also would like to, before we leave the BRT topic, great work, Cody, and great work on the part of the team. I also want to mention, you don't do a project like this without a huge amount of collaboration among city departments, and so I do want to acknowledge the Public Works Department for their project management on this. Former Public Works Director Eric Winger, who recently retired, and then Debbie Miller, who has filled in as the interim Public Works Director, but also Ryan Concha, Christy Wall, and Shamika Smith, who were our project management team, and really worked on a lot of different pieces of this besides just quite possibly the most widespread public improvement project we've ever done. 9.5 miles of project across the city. I can't think of another project that's touched as many places in the city as this one particularly has. But working through all the complications that we've come across, working in an urban area, we had our utilities department working quite a bit on relocating water lines that we discovered in places we didn't even know we had water lines in downtown Oklahoma City. And then also our traffic management people, Stuart Chai and Richard McCubbin, who really came through and were flexible at the last minute on things that we'd never done before, especially traffic signal priority in full-blown traffic. I mean, we'd done it downtown for the streetcar, but never citywide, and then really bus lanes and adapting to that idea in a way that we've never had before. I also wanted to call out some of our other participants in this, and I really hesitate to call them merely contractors because HNTB is part of our design, and Rudy TLS and Clever Devices, even with getting these types of things that we'd never done before. We really had technology and practices that we'd never had the opportunity to implement before. And then even OG&E and ONG, who had to be a little bit more flexible than sometimes we need them to be, especially here at the last minute as we were working on security lights at the platforms and all those sorts of things. We really need to acknowledge that participation. Too many times we call them out for things like lights that aren't working, and those are important things, but being adaptable for this particular project, for our really coming through on this for our residents. And you're so right, Barney, we've implemented a lot of new service over the last 50 years, a lot of that coming even in the most recent time period that you and I have been involved with the trust. But this really is a big moment, and sometimes we, particularly as city staff, don't even take the moment to acknowledge how big it is. So thanks for helping us acknowledge how big it is, Cody. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cody. Moving on to item C, which is our Safety, Security, and Training Program report. Eugene.
Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing? So my presentation is going to be in two parts. I'm going to do part one, and then everybody gets for part two. So is everybody ready for a BRT? Is this not working? There we go. All right. So as you know, Safety Department is in charge of all the testing for the BRT, and we have done a plethora of testing. So certified elements tests, 720 of them. This is things like drainage, measuring proper lane width, the platform height. The pictures here, we were out one weekend, both Saturday and Sunday, doing a sharp objects test. So we have to wait for all the platforms to be completed. Then we put on some cotton gloves, go around and feel everything and make sure there's no protruding or sharp objects. So that's what we did there. I told my team it was going to be fun, and I don't think they believed me. The other ones we did were system integration testing. So this is kind of putting the pieces together. So a big part of this is when the bus pulls up to the platform, making sure the operator can visually see the platform, both approaching the platform and exiting the platform. Signage, checking to make sure the signage, the wayside signage is all there. The lines on the road are there as well. TSP, which will be out this afternoon, checking the TSP. Byron did say inbound Penn and Expressway is working right now, so we'll be out testing that this afternoon. Back to the CELs, I forgot to mention this. So Jesse mentioned the lighting. So I was out there testing the lighting, and until I got caught in the rain, just want to make sure I threw that in there. I got drenched. If you're not familiar with the transit signals, there are the pictures on the right. So the bottom one is a little easier to see. So the top one has a horizontal line that indicates the bus to stop there, and then it will switch over to vertical, which will be the bottom one, and that's an indication for the bus to proceed. On the top picture, on the bottom circle, over on Penn, it's on Penn going north and south. There's a no right turn that holds up the traffic so they don't make the right turn so the bus can safely get through the intersection. So I wanted to throw this in there. So typically this is the time of the year where I do the updates for our safety plan. ODOT is still in the process of updating their program standard. So there is a lot of changes for the good. So I'll be back probably in January or February to go over those changes. Just a reminder, there's no fancy pictures, videos in that presentation, okay? And then, so like Trustee Johnson said, Jesse mentioned it, Cody said, it takes an abundance of people. Now I'm gonna cry. It takes an abundance of people to get to this point right here. You know, it's a lot of work that goes into it, and this is what it's all about right here. Does anybody have any questions for me? All right, so part two. So everyone knows we have our contract. We started our contract with the Mental Health Association about a few months ago. So today we have Terry White, who is the CEO of the Mental Health Association, to give us a presentation.
Thank you, Eugene. Good morning, trustees. I had no idea how moving an Embark trustee meeting was, so I am going to become a regular attendee. I think of these meetings. It's really
very
lovely.
therapeutic.
So I also want to say I think this part is incredibly impactful for what cities should be doing, and you'll see why I mean this in just a minute. I'm really proud to be a resident of the city of Oklahoma City. I have been for, I won't tell you how long, but many, many, many years. And running a statewide system the way that I do now, I work much closer with municipalities. And the city of Oklahoma City is just doing incredible things in the world of addressing the issues of homelessness and mental health among our citizenry that don't have access to care or housing. And so I just think this is one more piece of some things you can be really proud of in Oklahoma City. So I'm going to brag about our Embark partnership. So I have the slide. So for those of you that may not know who Mental Health Association is, we are the state's premier boots-on-the-ground nonprofit whose work really exists primarily at the intersection of homelessness and mental illness. And while we have lots of amazing partners who work in mental health treatment and other things, we really work out on the streets in Oklahoma City with people who are experiencing homelessness and mental illness. We fight every day to promote mental health, to prevent suicide, to end homelessness, and to transform the justice system. And as one piece of that, I'm going to highlight just a few of our programs that will help make sense about how this Embark partnership all works together. So the first is we have the only citywide street outreach team in Oklahoma City. We are not restricted by boundaries or populations. For example, there's a small team that's able to serve veterans who are experiencing homelessness, but they can't serve someone who's not a veteran. We are able to serve anyone who is experiencing homelessness on the streets of Oklahoma City. And what our street outreach team really specializes in is putting their boots on the ground and creating connections and building trust with people who have been let down by many systems and probably burned several times. That's how you end up in a situation of chronic homelessness. People do not want to be homeless. I know that's a mythology that's out there. It is not true. But they've lost the ability to trust that anyone's actually going to help them or even see them as a human being. And so what we do is we build trust. We are there consistently over and over, providing food and care packs and hygiene, but bus passes, case management, but most importantly, helping people obtain the vital documents they need: birth certificates, an ID, a social security card. You can't get a job without those things. You can't get services without those things. You can't get an apartment without those things. And we really work to get them into housing and into job opportunities, and you'll see that in just a minute. And we provide connection and hope. We also operate the only 2 street medicine teams in the state, one in Oklahoma City and one in Tulsa. Our street medicine teams are teams of 3. Our prescriber, in our case in Oklahoma City, a physician assistant, a nurse, and a case manager or social worker that are out on the streets. I truly say saving limbs and saving lives. That is what they do, especially as we're moving into the cold where frostbite becomes a significant concern. My team literally has saved toes, legs, and lives, and they do this every year. In the heat, they're keeping people from heat exhaustion and literally dying from dehydration. If you think about someone who might be living on the street, you don't have a refrigerator to store your insulin in, so we do a lot of diabetic care on the street, a lot of wound care. We help people get connected. We take them to the emergency room if necessary, but we keep people from going to the emergency room who don't need to be there by trying to get them connected to permanent health care services. We also operate the only peer-run drop-in center in Oklahoma City. This is the Lottie House. It's over on the intersection of Northeast 13th and Lottie. It's the very last kind of corner of the OU Health Science Center campus. The Lottie House is there for anyone who's experiencing homelessness to drop in. Maybe they need clothes, maybe they need food. If they happen to have a phone, they might need a place to charge it. And again, living in homelessness can be incredibly isolating. One of the things I've mentioned, and you've heard me kind of allude to already, is that people who are experiencing homelessness tell us they often felt invisible to everyone else. Because we don't know what to do sometimes when we're walking by someone who's experiencing homelessness, some people have told us, don't give money, do give money. And we don't know what to do, so we just walk without looking. And that takes away people's humanity. And so one of the things we do is we make sure people feel seen. What I would encourage all of you to do is tell everyone, if you see someone experiencing homelessness, make eye contact and say hello. You don't have to do anything else, but at least treat them the same way you treat anybody else you pass on the street. But what we do here is we help make those connections, and then we start them on the path to housing, employment, and self-sustainability. That's what happens at the Lottie House every day. We also operate, thanks to the City of Oklahoma City. Again, they're doing amazing things, and they fund the A Better Way program here in Oklahoma City. A Better Way is an alternative to panhandling. We pay people $65 a day for the dignity and the hard work they provide, doing a day's work, beautifying city parks, cleaning up after the Arts Festival, doing whatever might be needed by the city. But the most important thing that happens during the Better Way, besides that dignity of work, is that during the lunch break, which is provided by one of our amazing partners, the Regional Food Bank of Oklahoma, for free, a nice healthy lunch, our employment specialists and our case managers sit down with people and say, I can get you more than just a day's work. Let's talk about how we get you on the path to permanent employment and employment training and all of those things that we're able to provide to get people back on a path to self-sustainability, as well as connection to mental health services and housing. The last thing that I'll mention before I really dive into what we do at Embark, but you can see how it all, I just want you to see how it all fits together. We operate the Mental Health Assistance Center. The Mental Health Assistance Center is different than 988, which is a really important resource provided across our state as the suicide hotline, crisis intervention, connection to mental health services. What the Mental Health Assistance Center does is we work with families that are desperately trying to get into mental health care and having a really hard time navigating the system. Sometimes it's really hard to get help, and we stand with them and walk that journey until we can get them where we need to be. So it's more than a hotline. It's different than a hotline. The hotline's incredibly important for those crisis moments, but we're the connection that really makes things happen, and we will get people to pro bono counseling if they have no other means to access care. But now we also have a new program to brag about, and that's our partnership with Embark. So we actually have embedded, we call them the Embark case manager. We have embedded a staff member within Embark. That case manager connects individuals to critical community resources. And they spend time, they're at the transit centers. They're riding on buses, and she rides on buses and streetcars. Her name's Stephanie. Stephanie is at bus stops. She is wherever Embark needs somebody to be, where someone is there and appears that they may be needing help, they may be experiencing homelessness, they may need mental health services. Mental health crisis is a big thing. Stephanie is trained in crisis intervention and de-escalation, so that she is an alternative to police response. So she's able to be there and do that. She's a dedicated assessor who helps individuals get onto housing lists. So if you're experiencing homelessness, you can't just get on the housing list. There's actually a process and an assessment you go through that determines your vulnerability and eligibility. People who are the most vulnerable move to the top of the list. She is trained in all that to help people on their journey out of homelessness or their journey of needing to connect to mental health services, and that's what Stephanie does through Embark. This is a brand new program. So from October 5th to November 5th, the first month of our program, Stephanie met with 54 individuals who were involved in the transit system who were in need of help. She was able to provide bus passes to 14 of those individuals who actually needed to be able to use that transportation system. She completed 17 housing assessments in the first month for people who really need a path out of homelessness, provided hygiene packs, clothing, snacks. She actually did EMS intervention for 4 of those individuals who needed immediate care. Got 6 people connected to our street medicine team so that we could help provide care that they need. 8 people connected to mental health services, 6 people into the shelter who were experiencing homelessness, 3 referrals to the diversion hub, 8 were referred to our outreach team so that we could continue to work with them on an ongoing basis and get them off of the streets, and 3 people who needed immediate crisis intervention. So in the first month, this is the kind of impact that this new partnership is having, and we just wanted you to see how it has started off. We expect it to do even more and better things, but we are really proud and thankful for Embark's willingness to think outside the box of how we could help, and we're really proud to be the people that are there trying to support Embark to provide answers to these situations. So that's all I wanted to share with you this morning, but I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I don't have a question, but I do just want to commend you for your work. I'm sure that you can tell that Terry is terribly passionate about what she does. It's much more than a job for her. She personally helped me with a situation where someone in my family was on the razor's edge of homelessness due to a mental health issue. And she had a conversation with me that was very helpful. And I know that she would do that for anyone she came across. And I appreciate that very much, Terry. I appreciate this program.
You're very welcome. I'm proud to do what I do. And it's really a team effort. This is our MHAOK Embark case manager. It's not just MHAOK, so.
It's exciting that we can be a part of it, so thank you very much for your work.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Are there other questions or comments? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good rest of your meeting.
Thank you. Okay. Is there a motion then to receive our program reports for this month? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. Motion passes. Items from the trustee. Meg?
I think we broke the record today for the number of crying episodes. historical moment.
Just a reminder, after the ribbon cutting on Monday, we would love to have a group photo. So if you can stick around a few minutes, like to commemorate the event.
That's good.
The trust.
We, again, want everybody to remember, 10 o'clock Monday morning. Also 10 o'clock on Sunday, we launch the rapid service, correct, from the transit center?
Yeah, the service will actually launch at our regularly scheduled time on Sunday.
Oh,
so-
okay.
But we are having the transit center festivities, I think that's from 10 to 2? Yeah, 10 to 2.
On Sunday,
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. And so feel free to come to that. If not, we will see you Monday at 10 o'clock. We've guaranteed better weather than the streetcar launch was a few years ago. So with that, we are adjourned. Thank you.